Okay. Okay. I I'm okay. I'm fine. Guys, there was a leak today or even like yesterday, I think whatever day it was. There was a leak of a Hideo Kojima game that was been rumored to come out. Um and it goes by the name of Overdose. And so Hideo Kojima was the creator of PT, and that was right before he left Konami, or after they fired him, or I don't remember quite what happened, but after he left Konami, he had a game called PT, but that was taken off the store shelves, like the PlayStation Store and stuff. So he didn't quite get to give us that scary game that we were looking for. And so in this leak of Overdose, so I'm not gonna actually show you the thingy because this video might get taken down if they decide to go on a takedown streak. So far, it seems like people are uploading it onto YouTube just fine. So if you want to go see it, you can go look it up somewhere else. Right here, I'm just gonna talk about it. But at the very end, in a little bit, I'll tell you what my favorite part of the entire leak was. And I'm also going to take this opportunity to talk about game leaks and stuff too. And so let's talk about how the trailer actually looked. So it wasn't even, I think it was a trailer because, so at the very end, you saw like a game over screen and over turned into like Hideo Kojima game. And then underneath game over, game disappears and over turns into Overdose. And so you're like, okay, let's go. Okay, so it's looking like an actual trailer. At the very least, there hasn't been any comment on yet as of recording right now. But as usually with leaks go, usually they'll, if they're like really true, like they'll try to like take them down as fast as possible. But in this case, there hasn't been anything quite done yet. So the trailer starts off with one of the Death Stranding characters. I believe her name was Mama, and she also played like another character in there that was like her exact twin sister. But so she seems to be like the star of the actual game Overdose. And she's kind of like walking with a flashlight and it's in the dark. And then as she's walking, you see like a little red circle flash in the corner in the darkness. And when that happens, you see her kind of like moving her flashlight towards it. And it's like this little doll's head or something, and it's like talking to her. So it's got that whole creepy vibe, and I'm honestly excited for it. I'm not like the most big horror person game, but I do love Hideo Kojima. He's a personal favorite of mine. I love Death Stranding, even though it was Amazon Prime Simulator, where you got to take packages from one place to another, but then you also got to shoot people sometimes. And honestly, if you had fun playing Death Stranding, I relate to you. I love you. Not like that. Like, I love you guys, but like not like that. But I do love you. All right? For sure. But yeah, so she was like walking around, and so she gets closer to it. And then as the camera's like turning around, panning, you see what's behind her. And then all of a sudden there's another red circle. And I'm guessing, so in the top left corner too, there was something like a caption that said camera player 1. And so Hideo Kojima has been kind of like touting that like, touting. He's been touting that like, hey, we have a new game coming out. He has 2 games. It's going to be Death Stranding 2 and Overdose. But one of the games is going to have like a new medium in a way. And it's going to change gaming in a sense. That's what he said at least. And Hideo Kojima, he's one of those type of guys who does like to kind of push forward things. Be a kind of a little bit of a trendsetter. And so I'm kind of personally guessing that these red circles that come up are maybe from other players possibly too, where they're like, hey, here's a warning or here's a hint or something like that. I could totally see that being like a Hideo Kojima kind of game changing thing, because you don't really see a lot of like player cooperation like that in single player games especially. But we'll totally see eventually when he reveals a trailer or something. But yeah, so as I was saying earlier, the camera pans around and there's like this really ghostly figure. And so she doesn't quite notice it. But then all of a sudden she starts running away because I think she hears a sound and stuff. And we get this ominous looking beast creature man. And so she ends up finding her way to another room, and she hides behind a desk. And all of a sudden you just hear her screaming into her hands like, ah! Sorry, that might have been a little bit loud. But then you see the game over screen that I talked about earlier. So then after that was my favorite part of the leak that happened, and I'm gonna show this just the specific frame because I honestly think it's the pinnacle of leaks, and it's the only way that a Hideo Kojima game deserves to be leaked, if there even was a leak. I don't personally like leaks too much, because especially with games that come out a little bit too early, and you don't get to you kind of have to see like their pre-ready state before the artists even want to finish. It's like seeing a painting that's not been painted yet, you know? But what happens is right before the game over screen comes up, right? You know what? It's not even good to explain it. I'm going to pop it up right over here. It's a fucking guy. It's a fucking guy who's shirtless, who's recording the video through his phone from another phone who's where the video is from someone else who recorded it off of a television. And in the background, you see a shirtless guy, his nipples all out, everything. He's letting it hang. And it's just, I honestly couldn't fully like take in the scariness of the game because I could just see the man's little nippies in the reflection. I was staring at it the entire time. I think that was the scariest part of the game for me. And I think it'll be the scariest part of the game for you too, guys, if you guys look at the trailer. Oh my god. But yeah, so we got that little glimpse of glory into the Hideo Kojima game from none other than the shirtless man himself. And the funniest part too was all throughout the trailer you could see just his little group chat notifications popping up, and it's in like Spanish and stuff, and it's just perfect. This is the best type of leak when you get to see everyone's reaction around you and just the shirtless guy recording. But okay, that was like the funny part. So I'm gonna start transitioning over to talking about like game leaks in general. So when it comes to the creation of video games and stuff, like it's like I said earlier, when there's like a leak like this, it may not be in like the fully like ready form that the artist wants you to see. And knowing Hideo Kojima, I know especially he probably hates when his stuff gets leaked too, because he's someone who I've seen on Twitter. He's always like, yeah, I'm editing, and I've seen in interviews too. He likes to always change things up at the very, not at the very last second, but like just whenever he feels like there needs to be a change. And whenever it's like feeling perfect for him finally, that's when he really wants to show it. And honestly, it's just part of being an artist. And another thing is too, like it looked like from the video, from how like bad it looked in terms of quality, the video quality at least, the game looked pretty well done in my opinion. The darkness was really awesome. Like it was really off-putting, and also like in a really creative way too, where you could just feel like the horror coming up a little bit behind you. While you were staring at the guy's nipple, like you also kind of felt a little bit of fear about like this ominous figure just popping in and out of nowhere. So it's not like fully jump scary, but it is still like there's a sense of dread that's there. And whenever it comes to horror games, you always got to go for that sense of dread. Sense of dread is like one of the best things when it comes to horror, in my opinion. If it's just like a cheap jump scare, I'm not really into cheap jump scares. I'm just kind of like, okay, like, haha, you made me kind of, oh, you made me jump in my seat. Oh, like, thanks for that, I guess. I'd rather personally shit myself when I have this feeling of dread. And even like after I play the game or watch the movie, if I'm scared after the movie or the game, that's how I know they did a good job scaring me. Because I'm just kind of sitting there like, always looking behind my shoulder like, am I gonna get chopped up into tiny pieces tonight? No, I'm not. But okay, I'm not gonna say no because it's already his ability, but I'm not trying to jinx it up here, and but you know what I'm talking about. So when it comes to game leaks, it's always good to take it with like a sense of like a grain of salt, because it could always not be in a ready form, and that's when you have to give a chance for the game developers to kind of like continue building up to a game that you would really want to see. So if you see like a game leak, because I know this happened recently with GTA 6 and stuff, if you see a game leak that you think is like kind of bad, just know that they do not start with the artwork first. That's always like one of the especially last things that they ever like make. They always start with the framework. You have to get your framework down before you can start putting your art and stuff. Like if you have like a climbing system, you want to get that perfected first before you make all these ledges and stuff look pretty to like go ahead and grab onto, you know? And I've worked on like some games myself, and I know it's really it's hard work, like getting it to like a position that you really want to especially show people, and especially nowadays with like graphics fidelities being like insanely good and like really realistic. It takes a lot more time in order to get these graphics to where you want it to be when you show people, or like when you want to showcase it to like the Game Awards. Like the Game Awards is coming up. Like when you want to put a trailer up there, you want it to have its best foot forward. And for them to be able to do that, they have to have time to focus on the actual game itself. So, like I said earlier, just if you see a leak, just take it with a grain of salt. Be happy that they're working on it and see like what they've built up so far. And you can take that as like a little bit of a benchmark in terms of like, hey, they might be like, ooh, like a year or two into development, and they'll probably still need a little more time to kind of brush up on stuff. And especially with these AAA games, like I know like Gotham Knights and stuff, complete dog doo-doo. If you like it, you like it, all right? That's fine. But personally for me, like the graphics look nice, but everything else was shit. Like performance, the fighting stuff, that wasn't really my like forte too much. It just felt a little clunky and stuff. But in the end, they at least like got it to a point where they wanted to show it, and we got to see it how they wanted us to play it. And that in itself is like much better than being subjected to like a leak of Gotham Knights like 2 years ago when it was still like in its bare bones kind of like form, you know? But yeah, with that being said, guys, just know that that guy in the video, he did a service to us all. He showed us his nipples. He was full shirtless. And my man, if you're out there, just know that I have full and complete respect for you. And I hope you have a nice night in particular. Everyone else, I hope you have a pretty good day too, but not as good as the guy in the video where he was just fully exposed. And on that note, I'm going to go play some games. I'm going to go chillax for the rest of the night. Peace. Hope you guys have a good one and stay safe out there.